What is going on, everyone? DJ Dex here. We are back with another episode of the Platform Podcast. Today on the show, we got a very special guest from right here in Nashville. My man DJ Diesel for episode 5. Diesel, how's it going, man?
Chilling. Hanging out.
Yeah, we're getting it started. We're going to go into a little bit about you talking about yourself. The always talked about DJs getting requests from people, and in Nashville it's a different game here. We'll talk into some of the other side of DJing with negotiating, your branding, all that kind of stuff. But to get started, let's hear a little bit about yourself. I mean, how long you been doing this? What are we doing getting started here?
I am 44 years old.
Yeah.
So I think
Don't look a day over 25.
15 with one of the homies on the baseball team was like, he had a DJ set up at his house, and just went over there one day and I was like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
I had played drums before, but at the same time, like, I just wasn't into like really going too deep into learning to play an instrument. Just nothing ever caught my eye. So like when it was DJing, I was like, oh, this is it. This is like where my happy place is.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention it was very self-centered choice too at the same time, because like we were all breakdancers back then, so we would go to like battles, and like no girl wants to talk to you when you're spinning on your head and you're sweaty. Like, so like the girls would hang out with the DJs.
Yeah.
So like I kind of at that same age was like a little self-aware and was like, oh, if I if I want to like hang out with girls and not just dance, then like I'm not going to be able to do, like, that's probably a better choice.
You used to be in the breakdance game.
I did not used to always weigh 300 pounds.
No, but regardless, breakdancing is fucking wild.
Oh, I was not good by any means. So it was probably better for my crew that I like moved into DJing,
Yeah.
but I was enough. I mean, I did what I could, and I had some stuff, but
breakdancing is wild. Like, if you see the people that are good at it, I remember when I was out in San Francisco visiting my brother, they were just like on the street, like legit threw down the cardboard boxes, had like a big ass boom box out there, and just
we saved up money and got a piece of linoleum from like made my mom drive us down there, and like it was like growing up in California, Southern California.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's in every high school. High schools have their different crews. This is how it was way back when I was in high school. I don't know if it's still the same anymore, but I'm sure that there's probably some aspect of it that still exists. But dude, it was, we spent money on it. It was like you could drive down in military housing, you could drive down the street and see like kids just doing backflips and just trying everything, because it was hot at the moment too. Mm-hmm. Like I got to grow up in a really cool time. Like skateboarding was really hot, breakdancing was really hot. DJing was kind of just first coming to the scene where like it was more of a viable, like you could do that and make money. Like you really weren't like, the rave scene had kind of just started. Like this is the mid 90s, I graduated in 97. So like there was the essence of what we all know now as a culture and a money-making business, all just kind of there in San Diego, like naturally. And I really floated around to all the different parts and tried to like absorb it all. Because for me, it was just this crazy art form that was like accessible. Who else had access to that?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Sorry. I get off on a couple tangents every once in a while.
That's good, man. Yeah, I mean that tells more about you growing up and getting your start as a DJ. But yeah, you touched on it a little bit, like growing up in Southern California. When did you end up moving to Arizona?
So my route took me California, right?
Yeah.
Born in Hawaii, but raised in California.
Oh, I never knew that.
And then at 17, my dad was in the military, so we got transferred. He got transferred to Chicago.
Okay.
But he didn't, I don't know if it was a decision of based on money or if he just didn't want to live in Chicago.
Yeah.
He actually moved us into a house in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Which nobody knew of until a couple years ago.
Yeah. Kenosha's
it's right on the border.
Yeah.
And that was where I got my dip into what I call like, I don't know, like the essence of what you're either that person that's going to stand on the dance floor and listen to music at 5 a.m. or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I found that out because I was going to parties in Chicago. I started DJing a little more. People were introducing me to juke music and Chicago house and Detroit music and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, this is even bigger than I thought it was. And these people, their passion is this, like that. They live for this.
Yes.
So it was nice to see all that. And then back to Eugene, Oregon, where my dad lives. Well, Springfield, but most people don't know where that is. It's like right there in Eugene.
Yeah.
And then moved to Arizona because I wanted to go become a Harley mechanic, right? I didn't have anything really going for me in life. I was still DJing and stuff like that, but I hadn't made that connection that this is going to be my career yet.
Yeah.
It was something I made money at. And so I was like, I'm going to work on Harleys. And when I came down to Arizona, it just kind of fell into the spot of like the hot spot at ASU. Happened to know the owner and fell in and kind of built a career there for 20 years in Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from when I first initially met you, was when you were doing booking for El Jefe, and then when I was DJing in Chicago, I'd been booked at El Jefe a couple times from you, while you were still out in Arizona, obviously DJing there and every other spot in Arizona. But yeah, I mean, so were you doing stuff with being a mechanic and Harley and stuff, or were you just focused on DJing?
I mean, I was that was my goal.
Yeah.
Right. And I had got an offer at the Harley Davidson dealership, one of the ones in town. I'm not going to say their name because it's kind
should have came to Milwaukee, man. Harley.
No, it wasn't in Milwaukee.
I know. I'm saying you should have. Harley's huge. Yeah.
But I spent time there. Remember, first of all, as I have fond memories, I also have unfond memories.
Gotcha.
And 8 months of snow was an unfond memory.
Yeah, it's a little different than Arizona, that's for sure.
But I did get really good at pool and bowling.
Yeah.
And darts. Those are like kind of the only things I could do.
Yeah, and probably drinking too. Yeah.
Oh, no, I was already good at that.
Okay.
Half Irish, half Mexican. My bottle when I was born was not a baby bottle.
Yeah.
No, I can't say that. I didn't really actually start drinking until I was like closer to 18. I was one of those late bloomers.
That's how I was too. Yeah.
I don't even remember where we were going.
So just like from you DJing or on the Harley like mechanic side of things.
Oh,
I
got the offer from the dealership, and it was like, $9 an hour. And at that time, that was good because that was like, I want to say like 2004-ish. So it wasn't like bad. It was entry level mechanic. That'd be like getting offered like $15 an hour to $18 an hour now.
Yeah.
Like as an entry level mechanic, knowing you could make more. So it wasn't terrible, but at the time I was making $150 an hour DJing, and I had 4 residencies a night.
Yep.
So that was when I was like, I'm gonna do this for a little while, and maybe I'll work on some custom bikes and build my own bikes because I have a little bit of extra income, right? And that just never happened. Like once I left the school, I fucked around with a couple of motors with my friends, and we built some race motors and stuff like that. But all my energy really just kind of focused on like, how do I make more money at DJing and still be creative?
Yeah.
Right. Because that was like when mashups were the first on the scene, when Z-Trip started the mashups, from what I know. Like there could be somebody out there, the internet, they're going to be like, no, it was, this dude in his basement 20 years before that started, whatever. Z-Trip was from Arizona. Mm-hmm. I had seen how people loved him, and I had started hearing, Crooklyn Clan mashups and things like that. So I was really impressed with the production and the way that they were put together to where they would work on the club really well. And I was in a really cool spot. The spot I was in, like I was playing Sweet Child of Mine and Missy Elliott. Like, so they were, and I was like not mixing those 2 records, but like,
but you're able to play
that was
multiple.
The owner wanted. And that was like right at the same time as AM was getting his like Palms residency type of thing. Like in that same era, I had already had experience with the mashups and like really kind of playing like those random records, because he would come up and be like, Dramarama, anything right now. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd have to figure it out or have it for the next week or whatever. Not because it was something that I'm not going to take credit for it at all or trying at all. It was just something that I was forced to do by ownership.
Yeah.
And that owner is somebody that owned a lot of spots, and he actually had an interview in a nightlife magazine in Vegas. I think it was Bar and Nightclub magazine. And he talked about it. He goes, he literally said talked about our relationship, and he goes, why would I spend $1 million on a build out and then hand the keys over to a DJ and go, here, do whatever you want? Why would I not have communication with him? Why would I not have control over what he plays? Why would I not? And I saw it from a different side at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is the business side of it, where the DJing and scratching and tricks and all that stuff that's the fun art side of it.
Yeah.
Right. Everything you can come up with, the production and all that stuff. But so I saw it in that way. So that's where it really started my business career of doing it. So I was just helping out that owner, and then I met the guys at Riot Hospitality, and that's all history.
Yeah, start to build out from there. Yeah, because then you're getting into more of booking and getting into the behind the scenes of the club instead of just the DJing of hey, who do we need to book? What do we need to do to make money? Theming events, stuff like that. Like we've talked about before, just different events that you guys have ran in Arizona. And that's just ideas that you've helped out with too, with management, ownership, all that kind of stuff, going deeper than just being the DJ.
Yeah, I mean, I am very confident in my ability. Not that I am doing that right now or looking for that, but I'm confident in my ability to walk into any venue, sit with an owner, spend time. I'm not talking about an hour. I'm like, spend some time with the owner, get to know them, let them know what they want, and really understand how to articulate what they want to the DJs.
Yeah.
That was the biggest asset I think that I had was, you can take incidents that everybody's had to refresh their set before. Everybody's sets got stale. But how do you tell somebody that? Because we're all artists at the end of the art, and it's emotional. We're emotional beings, like artists are.
Yeah.
Like the reason these things get us so hyped and sensitive is also the reason that we are sensitive about critiques of what we do. And that goes into kind of like, how many different remixes do you have of Journey? And how many different versions can you play before, or do you take it out of your set when you know it's the best song for this set? All those things are hard decisions that guys have to make to keep their jobs.
Yeah, I feel like Nashville is a little bit different in that sense, where depending on the venues that you're playing at, you have to alter your set like that just because of what the ownerships or the bookers want. Where there are venues here that you have to play more of like that cheesy stuff.
Yeah.
And it works. Like, don't get me wrong, it works for those venues 100%. With the kind of tourist setting that you get here, you can play that cheesy set and it's okay. But I feel like so many DJs, where it goes to you having to like relay that message to other DJs, is you have to kind of tell them like, hey, put your ego to the side. Like, you don't need to play all the new shit and try and like bring in all these new records. Like, play the cheesy shit that you know is gonna work and make this club money.
And then you have also clubs that are like, we don't want any of that.
Yep, and
we just want
the opposite,
cutting edge like this, and you have to be both.
Yeah,
you have to walk that line to be able to do both. I think Darren brought up a good point about the clubs here in Nashville, is that like people that think came from a smaller town to here to DJ or only have DJ'd here are at a disadvantage only because the DJ community gave them that disadvantage.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a tourist town. I know it is a tourist town, but Darren brought up a good point. They're not used to building
a night.
You're not used to people not showing up till 11:30.
Yeah.
And you close at 2:30 or 3:00, and you're like, okay, well, and then I got, it's a different thing. So they've been done an injustice by just the lack of a DJ community being supported like it is in other cities.
Yeah.
Where I have guys, whether they say it to my face or not, I would prefer it to be my face, but you kind of know what's being said about you on the street, right? So you have to look at, like, at first, when I was younger, I was like, man, F that. Like, they're just fucking jealous or whatever. But, it's like that. I don't know if you've ever heard this saying before, but like, if one person tells me I have a tail, they're probably lying. 100 people tell me I have a tail, it's probably worth turning around and taking a look.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's kind of how I had to reevaluate life. And it happened from getting fired from like one of my favorite nights in Phoenix that I was like, and it was just, the things that the guys were saying to me, while I still feel like some of them were invalid, there was a lot of weight that came with them and truth too, where I had to relearn how to deal with people in the DJ community. While the DJ community comes from like hip hop and stuff like that, its origins are very hardcore based in that. One of the things I think that it's lost is that I'm better than you attitude, right? Because a lot of it, there was the let me tell the story about my neighborhood, right? And then you had the era where I kind of came in from, with my hip hop was like the 90s and like early 2000s, like that. Like that was like, I'm better than you. Like, and it was kind of bragging, right? But it wasn't ever like, I mean, sometimes it did get out of control, but it was part of the culture.
Yeah.
Was like, oh, you suck because you do this, or you suck because you do that. And learning how to take that from the culture was something that I had to really learn, which was there's going to be a little bit of truth to everything. But then, like, if I could tell you how many memes I've seen of me being fat or being some fat guy and they just post my face on there, it's funny every time. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's funny every time because they come up with some crazy nuance. But at the same time, it's like, that really has nothing. That's really nothing relevant to my DJing.
Yeah.
Right. Except for every once in a while when my belly gets out there and I hit the crossfader.
You hit the crossfader a little bit.
No, it's more like when I'm reaching over. But yeah, like it had never really been like taught to me, like how to filter that.
Yeah.
How to filter, like, that's not a comment on my DJing. That's just them being
just
dudes.
Haters. Yeah.
So what? Not even haters. Just being guys.
Yeah.
Like, guys make fun of each other. Like,
Yeah.
That's just kind of like what we do, and it just, we kind of always have, and to a certain extent. And that's kind of how you kind of know your place sometimes in with guys, is like you give them a little shot and see if they'll give it back to you, and and oh, okay, this is like, it's a feeling out process, and DJs are the same way. Like, and I had to really at a younger age, like, understand that was like they were critiques, but they were masked in like insults.
Yeah.
So I had to look at it and really, learn how to talk to people and really try to listen and accept who they are. That's one of the things I had to learn, was I have to change for each person, not each person change to me, because then I'm a dictator.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't never want to be that.
Yeah. And that's something you still have to deal with day after day now. I mean, even here in Nashville too.
Yeah, it's a new town. So like,
yeah,
you're like, you have all new people to like talk to and impress and befriend and spend time with and find out who are your people in town and all that kind of stuff. And I like the experience of getting to know people. Like, really, it's fun.
How long have you been here?
It's only, well, it's a weird combination, but yeah, a year and a half now.
I thought it was like 2. Okay.
I started flying and spending time here.
Yeah.
About 7 years when we opened Whiskey Row.
Okay.
So if you could go through that real quick, is like, I met the guys from Riot Hospitality when they opened their first restaurant or bar concept, which was El Jefe in Scottsdale. Fast forward years later, we now are partners with Dirk Bentley and Dirk Bentley's Whiskey Row.
Yeah.
They have El Jefe, they have Riot House, they have Cake, they have Hand Cut, they have Farm and Craft. And there's other things that, being in that office, that are just great, amazing ideas that are coming from those guys. And so when, working on the entertainment side, I came to Nashville to help with the entertainment for Whiskey Row. But knowing as I had grown, I knew that I couldn't come into Nashville and be like, this.
Yeah.
I knew that it had to be somebody from here that was really because I'm not going to live here. At the time, I wasn't going to move here. Like I'm going to be in and out, and somebody has to do it. Like one of those, you have to let somebody else do the job because you know that you're just not capable of doing it. You would do it wrong. I knew that I didn't have the skills. So when they came to me and they were like, hey, we have Ward Gunther from Whiskey Jam, who's going to really help us out on this side and kind of run everything. And he's going to put some people together on the ground. And he's found some DJs, you know, like I really kind of just came out, set the company standards that they needed to hold things up to, like discuss that with them. And then helped just kind of be in the building. Okay, these are the things that we don't like. These are the things that we do like. And also taking notes for the corporate office too. Like these things that we do in Arizona do not work here in Nashville. Like, and that's not something a lot of people want to hear when they're spending millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right. So I was able to say stuff like that. And they gave me the opportunity to help in those ways. And they understood that I spent time understanding that stuff. So that's how I first started coming here. So I spent more time here. And then it was just during COVID, I was like, me and Riot parted ways. And I was like, oh, you know what? Let me focus on me. I built somebody else's company for twice now, for the first owner and then for Riot. I didn't build it for them. I helped them.
Yeah.
So let's focus on me now. So let's focus on this brand and see like what we can do with this. You know, the goal was move out here, meet somebody, some cool artists, and maybe go on tour with a couple of them and do that thing. But in that process, I was like, you know, I really love like a 500 person nightclub. No more than that. And I think I'm just a nightclub guy for the rest of my life. Like, I don't want to be on tour really, or I don't want to be in front of like millions of people or like that never really entered my mind as like something that I really, really, really want to do and go after. Do I produce music and make edits? Yeah, I love that stuff. Like I love doing it, but it's not for that. It's to get that little crowd in the nightclub. Like, let's all get that connection. So, another tangent.
Yeah. It works though. Yeah. I mean, I know since I've moved out here, like you're playing everywhere out here all the time. Which obviously like the majority, your home base is Whiskey Row.
Yeah.
And I mean, what's like your residency now there? Is it set dates or has it changed?
It's Thursday,
now?
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
But we're moving Fridays. I think I have like 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
As of the filming date, so I don't know when this will come out.
Yeah.
But on Fridays, I kind of like was hesitant to take Thursday, Friday, Saturday earlier in the year.
Yeah, I know we talked about that a little bit, just because you feel like you get like
it's just too much of me in the same
spot.
You
get like stale almost.
And it is like, so I know what I need to do to keep the business busy. So I'm doing that, and then it's like, then you have, you know, staff members and things like that are just like, oh, this is the same thing over and over and over. And I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, like you're also hearing me 3 nights in a row.
Correct. Yeah.
Like you're all like, and that's that. You know, I've always been a proponent of like have a resident on the night.
Yeah.
Like don't rotate all the time.
Yeah.
Because that like the way I see it is this weighs more to me. I think this side weighs more, and that's why I see it that way, is that person's invested in that night, in that night being successful, and that night needs to be good every week. Where if you get a guy that rotates in once a month, it's more of a come in, I'm gonna do me. Like if I lose this gig, it's one gig I lose a month. I can fill it with another gig. Right. So I'm going to come in and do me and just bang it out. And I don't really care if the customer, I'm going to make them listen to it. If I could tell you how many times that I've heard a DJ say things like, no, I'm not playing your request. You're here to hear me. And I don't fault them for it. I just go in my head, I'm like, that's such a young way of thinking.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable. If you want to be in the nightclub industry. If you want to be on the festival side, I don't know how that works. That could work over there. I'm not in that world. So
you just don't have to play requests because like a festival, they're coming.
But I don't know if the arrogance about it works in that world or not. But it definitely doesn't work in this world.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many DJs I've seen that have like gone to a city and that's the hot DJ, and then 2 years later, because they just started telling everybody that, you know, I'm this, you're going to do that. I'm
And just nobody wants to work with them.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, it's happened in Chicago a couple times. I'm sure Milwaukee's had it happen.
No, there was actually, I was just listening to, I forgot what it was, but they were actually talking about, as a booker, one, like booking people that you've actually heard, which that's one thing we've talked about on here a couple times now, of just how Nashville has so many third-party booking agencies that they haven't even necessarily heard the DJ's DJ, but are still booking them, and they could just be fucking trash.
Well, there's, I mean, and they have said like 100% that is my job. My job is not to curate their business for them.
Yeah,
my job is to just make sure that shift from 4 to 6
is covered.
Yeah, and there's a guy that is a DJ.
Yeah,
that can play that.
Yeah, and then so what else they talked about was like when they are booking DJs, like if it is somebody that is a dick or they just like don't want to work with, then just already they're just cut out. And it's because it's like, why would I want to book somebody that I wouldn't even want to be friends with as a person or
yeah, I can't have a 5-minute conversation with you. And I have to deal with your attitude the entire time.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only sad thing about the industry is that if anybody tells them that, it's probably being spoken to them in a way that they can't understand. Yeah. Which is like, you're an asshole, you're a dick. Which is not most of these cases.
Not the wrong way to say it.
It's not the wrong way to say it, but it's not. And in most cases, it's not. It's just those guys have never. I got really lucky in the people at Riot and the gentleman before them, really working with me on a business side. Yeah.
So you could actually learn that side. Yeah.
And then develop, like, as a booker, like, my owners were just like every other owner. They wanted Tiesto for $4,000. And our hot girls would stand by them. You know, like, that's just how every owner in the world wants it. You know, like, they just want the most expensive for the cheapest. And my owners drove me to become a fucking pit bull in negotiations. That's just what it was. Like, I had to. I mean, I'm on the phone. I mean, some of the names I can't say, but some of them I can. Like, there's been managers for, and they're not even like hip hop artists. They're just like managers for like Instagram people. Yeah. That have like threatened my life. And it's just because that's the area that they've grown up in negotiating. Yeah. And that's like okay to say stupid stuff like that. And I had to filter all that, right? Because like I'm over here in an office, I can't say, oh, well, he said if we don't bring $60,000 as our next offer, I can kiss my kid goodbye. Like, I can't say that in a meeting when I know he doesn't mean it. I know he's like, you might as well just not feed your kid. Like it just weird things that they would say. Yeah. Because it's just the negotiation part of it in that world. And I'm not saying it's all that world. It was just specific things that I dealt with. So I had to become an asshole of a negotiator, but I couldn't go into the office. And so sometimes it looked like I wasn't making any ground. But it's a waiting game. It's like, hey, you got to talk to this person and you got to talk to that person. There's a couple of like third-party guys that like really helped me kind of break through. And once I broke through, like I was able to like, I never crossed them. I never like booked without them. Yeah. I booked with them, but like I was able to have the relationship that was there. Between me and the artist or me and the manager and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but negotiation wise, if I could give any advice to anybody, it would be deal points. What the fuck are your deal points? I am, as an owner of a bar, I am never going to offer you more than I want, than you want. Mm-hmm. I am never going to hand you more than what you're expecting or what you're asking for. So why not? If you want to be at, blatant statement right now, it's probably the second time it's been recorded. If you're playing from 4 hours on a Friday or Saturday anywhere in the U.S., you are worth $500. Period. Period, all day long. Most guys are worth more than that. Mm-hmm. I know the numbers in the building. I've seen the numbers in different buildings. Like, every single guy is worth $500 on a Friday, Saturday, 10 to 2 in the morning or whatever your nightlife is.
Hours are. Yeah.
Hours are.
Yeah.
Now, if you want more than that, or even if they're offering you 200 and you want to get to 500, simple. My goal is to be at 500, but I'll take this offer at 350. But I want to be at 500 in 6 months. Let's set a goal on how I do that. What are the things that you want me to do that will get me to $500 a night? You want to see this much in sales? You want to see an increase in girls coming into the bar, females attending the bar, as opposed to like all guys? Do you want to see more sports like fans in the bar because you're across the street from all those things? You are a business. You're selling yourself.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you ask for all of the metrics that you're going to be measured by, and ask what their goals are, and then say, okay, well, if I meet these goals, can we get me here?
Mm-hmm.
Every boss or manager, if they're good, or booker, if they're good at their job, will look at that as, this is a guy that I want to do business with all the time, because this is going to be the dude that I go, hey man, I got a random gig and we're doing we're taking our bar and we're doing a golf tournament, but I need you to be there at 9:00 in the morning, set up, bring some speakers, and I'll pay you $1,000 or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay. You're not a mobile DJ, but you did something for that club and you made more money because you're a business guy. You're talking on the level that they talk on most of the days, which is about numbers, about how do we make the business grow, how do we make the brand grow, all those types of things. But if you know your deal points, you say them. Because if I offer you a gig at 350 and you don't say shit in 6 months, when you ask me for a raise,
still getting the same thing.
I'm gonna go, tell me why I need to give you a raise.
Yeah. You accepted this already. Yeah. You've never said anything.
And I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm looking out for my business.
Yeah. No.
And that's what I think a lot of the guys aren't understanding is like your business. So when you are 30 minutes late to your set and you make the other DJ late, or you're sitting there running your mouth about all these other guys just blatantly in public, you can have your opinions. If you have your opinions, either keep them to yourself or tell them to the person that you're about. Like, that's all I have to say about that. Like, but you start running your mouth about other DJs, these people, they don't want to hear that. They're in the nightlife business. They already have enough drama.
Yeah.
They don't need the DJ to bring more drama about other DJs. You just sit there and I mean, negotiation, they're going to be rough and tough. Like, go online and watch a couple of negotiation videos and things like that. How to turn a no into a yes, things like that. But if you don't ask for it, it's not going to happen. And that's with everything in your career.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, show up for yourself. Granted, I was late today. Sorry. But I made it. I'm here.
Yeah, but this isn't a timed gig, so it was
not,
all right.
But
it was all right.
It's an opportunity for me to get my ideas out there, get my face out there, talk about some of the things I'm doing. And so if I just stay in bed all day, then
what is it helping? Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
the 4 million people that are going to see this on your podcast are not going to know about me.
Hey, I mean, I just had Dirks Bentley. I just talked to him actually this week, and I talked to him about the podcast. I was telling him actually about Jevity and being Kane Brown's DJ, and Dirks had no idea about like the backstory behind it. And we were sitting there shooting the shit, and he's like, "Wait." He's like, "You're telling me they had no idea that they were brothers?" And I'm like, "No, they just found out like a couple years ago." And he's like, "What?" Like, he's like, "What's the name of the podcast?" Pulls it up on his phone. He's like, "I'm gonna have to go listen to this." I'm like, "Shit, I'm trying to get you on it." And he started laughing, and he's like, "Well, I got the tour coming up soon, but he's like, if I have time," he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." So, and I would love to have him.
From all the experience that I know, like he's a man of his word.
Oh, dude, he's the nicest guy ever too. Like every time I've helped him in the store, like he goes out of his way to ask your name. Like the first time that he came in, he like went out of his way to be like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm Declan." He's like, "I'm Dirks." And I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, I know." I was like, "I know." And then he came in like a couple weeks later, remembered me, and he was like, oh, like, he's like, where are you from again? Chicago? And I was like, Milwaukee. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. He's like, how's the DJ been going? And now like this is
But for him to
4
even
months
get
later.
that close
No, and that's what I'm saying.
of
And
like a city.
yeah. And I'm like, out of all the people that he's probably talking to and meeting and stuff too. And then when he just came in this week, the last time he came in was like 4 months ago or something like that. And he's like, oh, how's the DJing been? And I'm like, how the fuck do you even remember this? Like,
He's a very intelligent man.
yeah.
And he's very well respected in what he does. And and he deserves that. He is a very well respected person. He's the nicest guy.
So
I've ever
nice.
met. The team that works for him has been so welcoming to me.
Yeah.
That it's like I have another family.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't even work for Riot anymore, but yet they'll still ask me, hey, do you want to come through the, like, they know my parents are in Eugene, Oregon, and they'll ask and say, hey, do your parents want tickets to the show in Eugene, Oregon?
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of people he surrounds himself with. And that's one of the reasons like that and Ward's love for me, where it's just like, yeah, like I'm going to make this move because I feel like there's people that are willing to like accept me pushing myself in that direction and like be supportive of it. Whether I make nothing of myself or not, at least I've tried. Right.
But they'll have your back through the process.
They have my back.
Yeah.
They're always there for advice.
Yeah.
Like I literally can just text Ward and be like, hey, I know you're super busy. I just need 30 seconds of your time. I just need some advice on something. And the guy will make time for me. He might be like, hey, can I call you tomorrow or something like that? But he'll make time for me.
Yeah.
He always does. And he doesn't need to. I have no benefit to him. Like knowing me is of no benefit to him at all. But
I think you're counting yourself out a little bit there, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm saying monetary benefit.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like, we're friends. I like the guy. We talk.
I mean,
about
I still
shoes
think you
all the time.
could help out a lot in like in a whiskey jam fashion with the DJ realm of it. I mean, you look at like Jevity DJing one of their events the other night. They don't have a lot of like DJs in their events, but that is something that they could do. Or it could be something that he's talking about on like Apple Music. I mean, maybe he wants to talk about how country or country artists are getting into the DJ world because they really don't.
Yeah.
And that's something that when I talked to him, when he did like a Q&A once, and that was like one of my things is like how are country artists getting their music out to DJs? Because you'll see like obviously in the EDM world, house music, anything like that, DJs are putting out those packs for other DJs where they'll send them out or they'll have downloadable tracks on a SoundCloud, a Bandcamp, or anything like that. Hip hop world, like you get edit packs from DJs all the time, yeah. But in like the country music side of things, nobody's sending tracks out. Like
you've got like the one record pool that
does country edits.
Yeah, which I think is like
Club Killers will do like Roadhouse stuff with like Silver. Or,
yeah, but there's a strictly country one.
Yeah,
and I know that JD's on it. He does a lot of edits there.
Yep.
They're like pretty much intro, outro edits.
Yep.
Like, but do they do anything to promote those records? Are they part of the record industry?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
But if you're a DJ and you are actually blending records, grabbing some stuff like that that's quantized and has the intros and outros is huge for you.
Yeah.
And it could just generate, more for the music. That's a good question on how they're doing that. And
yeah,
like that. I'm not even involved. I mean, I think JD is probably the closest one. I mean, there's a couple other guys that just don't live here, so I don't know them. Like there's like a Milan guy. Like on that website, there's like 4 or 5 people that
are
do that.
The producers and remixers and editors. Yeah.
I know Travisty's got a lot of stuff on there too, but his is more like a mashup. Like the ones that I found from him are more mashups as opposed to just like a straight up redrum.
Yeah, I just feel like you see it a lot more in other genres than in like a country where that could be something that like Ward could even kind of pilot. to get those country artists, to get those records out to DJs, where then obviously in a city like here, those songs are going to be played out in an Aldean's or a Whiskey Row or wherever else, and then be heard by thousands and thousands of people over the weekend, and kind of jumpstart that track. Because obviously if the DJs are playing your song, that's only going to make it more and more popular.
I feel like
So don't count yourself out. You could definitely be more
I
more
see
than
what you're
useful.
saying,
Yeah.
but I just feel like with the streaming and all these like direct to consumer avenues, it's almost too late by the time a DJ gets a hold of it.
Yeah.
Because like we're looking at records now that are like leaked on TikTok, and 3 days later they're on iTunes, or I mean Apple Music and Spotify.
Yep.
Right. And
then they're not on a record pool.
they're not on a
until
record pool.
day
There
after
isn't that time of like where the radio station had to push it as much.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the like when I get requests, like people come to Nashville and they expect one of the greatest artists of all time, Tyler Childers, to be played. Right. So I have some drum remixes and stuff like that. Excuse me, I just spit all over the place. But it's a little cotton mouth.
Just be for whoever's using the mic next. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, carried on. Yeah.
I
so
just,
when people
I
are
just feel
coming
like with all the
requesting,
streaming, it's hard to get that. By
Like
the
it's
time
hard to
we get
beat-
it, it's
it's hard to
already
beat
a
it.
hit, and
Yeah.
we're expected to have a remix.
yeah.
Right. That's kind of where the world's going now. It's like, with it, and that's why I'm focused 100, not 100%, but very closely on watching TikTok, because it's essentially a label now.
It's a chart for sure.
It's a way. It's basically what the like kind of what the A&Rs used to do like back in the day for the radio station DJs. Like, hey, we'll break you off a little bit of cash, or we'll fly you down to Puerto Rico for the summit, like all that kind of stuff. And now it's just like, okay, well, it's just basically a transaction. Like, oh, you're a huge TikToker. Please do a dance to our song. Here's $10,000.
Yeah.
Or here's $5,000. I don't know the numbers. Like, I'm just making those up. But
well, and then off your
I think
views and
that's
stuff
kind of-
too. Yeah.
it's so hard for DJs to like be known as the guy that's like really you're looking for to break records.
Yeah.
You've got guys, like on like radio stations. So you've got like the guys that are on Pitbull's Globalization. You've got the guys that are on Hip Hop Nation. You've got Diplo has his own show,
Revolution. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got
or like
a
a
whole,
Shade 45 or something like
but
that too.
it's like a whole section on Friday nights that he does of like brand new records.
Yeah.
Or records that he thinks are going to be big. So like it's hard because it's kind of like focused so much on the consumer that they almost don't even need us anymore. In that aspect. Again, I'm not in that industry. It just, from what I'm seeing, this is just through my lens.
Yeah.
My rose-colored lenses. So like that would be something that would be hard. Like, it's an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah.
To do something like that. I'm just like currently working like mostly on all my edits and remixes. The original stuff is finally coming out. Like I've got 2 or 3 on the SoundCloud now that are original kind of remixes, and then a lot of the edits. All my edits, like I've been doing those for years, and they've been put on DMS, Headliner, different places. I've had stuff, I have a Juice WRLD one that I know that Diplo plays when he's playing like giant festivals. He probably doesn't play it anymore because he's really more in the house stuff.
Yeah.
So I've got like a decent amount like of like notoriety that there's some edits out there. But I never really tried to monetize on them. Like a lot of people, like
Bandcamp, Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I just have I have my Bandcamp on there.
Yeah.
Right. So if you go on to anything that I'm at, DJ Diesel on anything, it's spelled out DEEJAY Diesel. If you don't know how to spell diesel, just drive by any gas station. But the Bandcamp is like I just looked at Wookie's Bandcamp. Not that I'm anything remotely close to what he is, but I'm like, he's got a couple thousand people that are paying him $5 a month to download these songs, and they have access to streaming. And I'm like, that I know that there are people that always ask me. I get monthly emails from people and text messages. Do you have anything new? What's your new edits? So I'm like, okay, well, sometimes it feels like you're trying to monetize off your friends, but then at the same time, It's like, I put hard work into these.
Yeah, if they
Like,
support, they should.
Then, like, why could, like, what's it? And that's why I was like, $5 is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, and I think there's like 27 on there now or something like that. And I think I'm probably doing about anywhere from 5 to 10 a month, depending on if it's a good month of music and stuff like that. And I don't do them for money. I do them for, like, each one of them is something I'm passionate about. I'm like, this was a song that I really liked, and I made an edit that's playable in the clubs. I try to keep most of my edits. I won't do a clean version. Sorry, you'll have to clean it up yourself. That's just not going to happen. It's too much work for me. I'm a club DJ. I always tell people I've turned down gigs because I have to do clean music. Sorry.
Yeah. Just
they
doesn't
know
sound
what the word
same.
is when it
Doesn't
goes
sound the
beep
same.
and it goes backwards.
Yeah.
All the kids know what the word is, and everybody's like, words are words.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like club energy, pop club energy.
Yeah.
Like, I really love pop music. Like, I really love a good pop song. Like, it just.
What's like your top right now? That you like playing out, or that you just like listening to?
Will you say, like, are you talking about just any song or pop song?
Like pop song right now.
I would say, I don't know if you could really like say that this is a pop song, but it feels like a pop song. Is that Pink Panther song that's out right now?
And Ice Spice, yeah.
Yeah, with Ice Spice.
I would think that's like poppy. Yeah.
It's like I play it and
Boy's
I'm
a
like,
Liar. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like I feel like I'm driving. I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is a pop song. Like, it's nice. But it's also part of that. Like, if we go down that little trail of where did that beat come from? Well, that's like really close to a Jersey club style beat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I feel like there's this energy coming back in hip hop and a lot of it's because of that beat. And I think people were looking at it, but they weren't really using it until Uzi Vert dropped it.
Yeah.
And then people were like, oh, if we muffle that kick, because in the Jersey club, it's sharp. It's bang, 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 bang. If we muffle that, put a little bit more 808 on it and round it out, it's still got the vibe, but it still kind of has that same vibe that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that like combination right there. And then when you throw like what I think is like kind of fun lyrics and like more of a pop melody on top of it.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong. Everybody would be like, that's not a pop record. I mean, I don't really.
I would call it like
pop just means popular.
Yeah.
That's all it means. And I don't know
it's
where
definitely
it
a
got
top 40.
Yeah, it's never like I don't know where it got this negative connotation from. Like, they're good songs. They might not be the best song in the world.
Yeah,
but they're good songs. I mean, there's a reason that Taylor Swift writes so many freaking pop songs.
Her tour starts this weekend. So,
oh yeah,
in Arizona. So
no, I will not be going there.
Yeah, my brother will be there. So he'll take pictures for her. She posts his pictures on Instagram every now and then he likes to brag to me about it. So, fuck him.
Wait, so is your brother?
He's not like her specific photographer.
No, I'm saying, has he ever met Dante?
No, I don't think he ever has.
But you know Dante.
Yeah, I've never actually met Dante. We just like interact
Dante
online.
Is the hugest Taylor
Swiftie.
Swift fan.
Yeah. Oh, I see him tweet about it. Yeah,
you got to introduce him. He'll be like, I'll fly anywhere the next time you're gone. Actually, he's so big now, he probably could just call her up.
Yeah, my brother's in Chicago all the time for stuff. But yeah, that's what he does is he just does photography for events and sports and all that kind of stuff. Like his Instagram is just fucking artist.
I will say this.
Crazy pictures.
Little side tip for the ladies out there. If you want to get into a lot of cool events, date a photographer. Ladies or men, because there's a lot of female photographers out there too. Or whatever wants to date whatever, however it goes these days.
Yeah.
But photographers will get to go to a lot of cool events. They're respected by almost all security, all management, all artists as like an artist. So like they get
he's getting press passes,
and the ones that I know have never really like overdone it. They'll take like one person with them, or like they'll even have the person help. Like, you got to carry lenses.
Yeah.
Sorry, and you got to run with me. Like, this is going to be fun, but at the same time, like, we're going to have an experience.
Yeah, I'm pretty
working any kind of production event once in your life. Anything, even if it's security, I think really would give a lot of people context of like what goes on behind a concert.
Yeah. And give you like a newfound respect for
There's an entire
how much
city
shit.
behind the smallest stage.
It's insane. Like if you look at a soundboard
Yeah.
during a concert, you'll just be like, what the fuck is this spaceship right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I mean, if you're talking visuals and lighting and all that kind of stuff, like, it's wild.
Plays right into our world. Like,
yeah,
nowadays,
in
it's
a
not
club.
just the DJ.
Yeah.
You have a lighting guy.
Mm-hmm.
You have the visuals guy now too.
Yep.
So like, you could be having a great set, and the lighting guy could be just shit.
Mm-hmm.
And people just
it does kind of kill that vibe. Yeah.
Because that's how extravagant these nightclub lighting rigs
Yeah.
have gotten now. You can't just have somebody pushing buttons or just moving lights on anymore. Like,
Yeah.
people are seeing this stuff online. They're expecting presentations. You know, if they hear that you spent, you know, $10 million on a build out, they're expecting to see something that is
like a LED wall or lights that are actually
LED wall can't just
ran
have
by. Yeah.
your logo like
Yep.
bouncing around in the DVD
Yeah.
football, or what is
Yeah.
it, the corner game?
Yeah. But then you add in like cryo guns and confetti and all that kind of shit. And it's like every time you see that confetti blast or that cryo gun go off, it's an instant energy boost for the crowd too. Where that kind of shit can make a night too. So yeah, there's been some times where like lighting has been off, or like a place just doesn't have like a lighting person for the night, and you can just feel it's completely different.
I've had gigs where the lighting person only likes a certain style of music.
Okay.
And I'm a true open format. So I'm going to be playing, like, you're going to hear some like EDM, you're going to hear some house, you're going to hear some hip hop, you're going to hear some trap, you're going to hear, you know, and you'll hear some country in Nashville too. Like, I'll find a remix of a country or something like that. But when they don't like a certain genre of music,
Yeah.
and that's the genre that's like needed the most for the night, it's hilarious to, like, it's a fight. Like,
It's almost like they like don't want to light up.
It's just like, that's like I've been to many hip hop concerts.
Mm-hmm.
They have some of the dopest lighting ever. Biggest drops, strobes, explosions. And
Fire.
I'm like,
yeah.
talking to some people that, and I'm like, what do you mean there's like, what do you mean hip hop doesn't need strobe lights and like drops and stuff? I'm like, it was such a foreign idea to me that it felt like they were speaking a foreign language.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand the concept of every single word in that sentence. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out, how can this person think this while I'm trying to, because it was such an odd thing to be whispered like in my ear while I'm DJing. And I'm like, what? How?
Like, you absolutely
I can't even
do
address
need it.
that right now.
You absolutely need it. Yeah. Can you imagine just going to like a concert at Bridgestone and they just like
set it and forget it?
Yeah, and they just like either just had like one spotlight or just a dimly lit room.
One spotlight in the front, and Morgan Wallen keeps running out of
it.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, there's no other lighting or
Dude, he
anything.
had that acoustic show, and it wasn't and it looked great. Like, the lighting guys you can do a lot with minimal stuff.
Yeah.
I had to be the lighting guy for our company for a very long time.
We had a couple spots in Milwaukee where it's like you had to DJ and work the lights yourself.
Yeah. I had to install them and program them and all that stuff. Like, so I got and I had to do arena, like, so like all that stuff, I had to learn it.
Yeah.
Because it was either you don't have a job or you learn it. Like,
fair enough.
And I wasn't going to let the guys, I mean, I respected all the guys I played with. Like, I wasn't going to let them have a shitty lighting rig.
Yeah.
Like, why? And the guys that I worked for, like, I'm going to do my best to get you the best for the least amount of money, because I want to play here and I want my friends to play here and I want the best DJs in the city to play here. Like, and I want people to have a good experience. Yeah.
And it's getting bigger. I mean, the majority of spots here downtown, I mean, you look at like Whiskey Row has that big LED wall. I mean, DLS will have, like, where else has LED
DLS
walls?
is a fun spot to talk about.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, I love that place. We've talked about them on like every episode too here.
Yeah. Because it's the only
like nightclub.
True nightclub only.
Yeah.
Right? Because Whiskey second level turns into a true nightclub.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But during the day, it's a honky tonk. Like it's they're playing music and it's band and stuff like that. So this is like VIP bottle service, like walk in. Whiskey does all that too, but this is like nobody's in the building.
Yeah.
When you walk in.
Yeah.
There wasn't a band there. It's like crystal clean. You walk in. They got the speakeasy thing, so you walk through I think it's an All Saints store.
Yeah.
They don't make stuff for fat boys, so I don't buy that shit.
But yeah, it's like the little bookshelf or whatever that you walk through.
Yeah. It's a store during the day. They sell All Saints, but at some point they locked all the clothes away. I think they might have been getting stolen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you're just letting everyone walk in and out of there, I wouldn't be surprised, yeah. But it's a dope spot. But yeah, that's where the majority of the nightlife here will have something as far as lighting, LED, anything like that. So yeah. And you need it.
And actually, Jason Aldean's just...
Like, they have a giant on both floors, too. They have the rooftop floor has a giant LED wall and that second floor where the bands.
When we were there on that Monday to see the DJ Silver and was it Dre London tequila thing, that was an all new lighting rig. I don't know how all of it was new, but a lot of it was new.
Yeah.
Me and Darren were making comments on that too, like how it really turned that room up a notch.
Yeah.
Not that it needed it because it was a great room in the first place, but like it turned that room up a notch.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't even know that was new because I didn't notice from the other times I've been there, but yeah, there's a lot all around here, and then obviously you look at any like the bigger Vegas, Miami clubs like that, or like even like I think of Prism in Chicago has like a fucking 100-foot LED wall behind it. And it's like
love Prism's stage.
It's insane.
I love the fact that Chicago respects the DJs so much that they built a giant stage. Like you could have like 30 people back there.
Oh yeah.
And it still not be standing room only. I mean, it would be crowded, but it wouldn't be like overly crowded. Like the DJ would still be able to work. His friends would be back there. And that like the company that runs it, like when I've been there, when they first opened, like I would go. I played there. Right. So it's not only for them. And they respected me at the same level that they respect, Dylan Francis, Diplo, like all those guys. It's a true city that really understands DJing. Like, I don't know how it happened because I didn't grow up there and I didn't live there my whole life, but it's a genuine city that like understands nightlife culture and DJing.
Well, like that spot in particular too, they do like a Monday service industry night where then it's always like local Chicago DJs that get to take over Prism every Monday and get everybody out. But then it's like that spotlight on them instead of on the weekends where they're bringing in they have huge artists.
Huge.
Like every weekend, whether it's DJs or like hip hop artists too. They always bring in like big ass hip hop artists too. So you get kind of the best of both worlds when you're there. Here you don't get like a lot of artists really like coming through and doing performances and stuff at any of the clubs aside from like the country artists. Like country artists will just randomly fucking pop up and start singing.
Are you talking about for me?
No, like in Nashville. Like there's not really a lot of artists.
Oh, yeah.
Performances and stuff that get booked.
I think people don't realize that there's like a couple parts of Nashville.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm still in the learning stages of what it is, but like
I definitely am too.
Like most of the like country stars they're not going on Broadway.
No.
If they do, it like they're gonna go jump on stage, maybe do a song with the band that's there, and then bail out,
bounce out,
right? Bounce out.
Yeah.
But you will see them every once in a while in the bar, just shooting the shit, and it's kind of like crazy to see like somebody that that you see as like a big artist, like Chase Rice.
Chase Rice was,
and
that's what I was
and you just, he's just in the bar, like, and he'll talk to you and have a good time. But most of those sightings are going to be like your type of thing. Those are going to be more in like the Music Row, Red Door area. You know, people.
Or like writer sessions, really like singer.
Yeah. If you're really into the music scene and you know, like you go, that's where you go to see people. And the funny thing is some of the most influential people that you meet out here are the songwriters.
Yeah.
And you never know who they are. And you just get introduced and you're like, oh, and he's like, oh yeah, he wrote, oh yeah, all the last number one tens. And you're like, oh, really nice to meet you. You're a very talented person.
Like I remember we were at Tin Roof and the dude that was there, the singer, was the guy that wrote Rockin' a Hard Place by Bailey Zimmerman. And he ended up like giving the song to Bailey Zimmerman, and then it was boom, number one song. Yeah. And he was just out singing at Tin Roof, and I'm like, holy shit! Like,
it is the biggest visual demonstration of most artists are just normal people.
Yeah.
Right. And I try to tell people that because I mean, I've had a pretty decent career with like being able to play with different people.
Yeah.
I mean, back when Nelly was huge, I opened for Nelly, like in Eugene, Oregon. So like I've been able to like finagle myself into some pretty cool situations.
Yeah.
And they're at that time, they were just all, he had the whole St. Lunatics with him. So like, they were just all regular people. Wanted to go get some good food. It's like when DJs hang out in another city. Like,
you know, you're hitting up your other buddies.
Yep. They want to know like the good record spot or like the good hip hop spot or the good clothing store or like, you know, and a lot of times they want to come out and they want to do the touristy things too. They're like, oh, ziplining? Let's go ziplining. And you're like, I want, like, they're not these unreachable people that we kind of put them on pedestals as. They're just, you know, John from the block. He just happens to sing 10 number one songs and have a lot more money than us. Like, yeah,
because I feel like when you're talking like artists, but then like DJs, you kind of always get like that stigma of like, oh, he's a DJ.
Oh yeah, that's one of the notes I told you. That was like, we are made fun of like
by everyone. You see like, memes where it's like, oh, like don't date a DJ.
Like, don't marry him. He's a DJ.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, and the funny thing is like, while I'm not rich as hell and driving multiple cars and, you know, like I'm not walking around with a Rolex or anything like that. I'm paying for two houses. I have a house here and I have a house in Arizona. Mm-hmm. My daughter lives in that house. We go back and fly back and stay in the house with her. We have a house here. We're trying to build the career here. Like,
you're not hurting.
I'm not hurting for money.
Yeah.
But I've also put myself in that position. I have worked to get to that position.
Yeah.
And not just the drinking and partying and stuff like that. And I know that there have been comments made before, but just we've always been looked at as like the joke, right? So some guys are hesitant to say it. I'm not. Most guys aren't. But to see that kind of like that, like they shut off when you talk when they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a DJ," and they're like, and it's not even just girls; it's just people that you're talking to, and then they're like, "Oh, like everything you have to say now is invalid."
Yep.
Which is funny because what I find in society with my friends that are DJs and aren't DJs, my DJ friends are some of the most well-informed, smart people that I know. Like they're the most intelligent people that I know. Because not only are we all tech nerds, because we have to learn how to use half the stuff we have to use now.
Yeah.
It's not just picking up a record and putting it down anymore. Like we all know weird shit about laptops, weird shit about audio, all this stuff. But then again, we have time to focus on ourselves. Like I do a lot of inner thinking, a lot of self-reflection on what is the type of human being that I want to be and how do I help myself get there. And those are a lot of things that I have to look at on myself. And like, I know a lot of guys do that. A lot of the guys do self-reflection. They do podcasts. They do all these other things that where they're having intellectual conversations on a high level with other DJs, and people just look at us as like, oh, you're. And it's like, well, we're smart enough to make money at the career that or the art form that we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you should rethink about asking your DJ friend about advice for anything, because a lot of them are not the drinker party that you think that they are.
They might be, but they might also be.
Yeah,
Being
there are definitely ones out there that are just the.
Well, you can be
partiers.
both. You can be both too. It's we're talented like that.
No, I mean there's ones that are. They are just drinkers.
Yeah.
Like there are, but they're typically flash in the pans. They're typically hit or they gone tomorrow. You know, you see them for 3 or 4 years after they've burnt every bridge in the town and drank their. I don't know why I had an $800 tab.
We got some people like that that we know. We
but
definitely
if you're
both
long
do.
lasting in this industry, I'd say for people out there, like give a DJ a chance to just have a conversation with them.
Yeah,
like a real genuine one.
Yeah,
like not in the bar. Like go to lunch with them, talk about some different things.
Yeah, not while you're yelling over
more
music.
Stuff from you guys than I do from anybody else. Granted, I always check to make sure everybody's right.
Yeah.
I'm that asshole, but
we'll fact check. But yeah, I mean, aside from you as a DJ, that's something that we kind of touched on earlier, but going into how much more than like DJing you kind of have to do nowadays, where being a promoter is a thing that I feel like a lot of bookers and like owners and everybody expect. Where
they don't want that.
They don't want that?
a DJ. They don't want a DJ.
Oh, I thought you were saying they don't want you to be a promoter.
Yeah,
I'm
most
like,
places don't want a DJ. They want a promoter. That's the first thing that they want to know is how many people can he bring through the door?
Yep.
How many people can he bring through the door?
Yeah.
And what you're looking at is they got to look at it at the same level of like, what kind of analogy would I want to use there? Because I want to make sure it's open to everyone and it makes sense. But it'd be like you're the chef, but I want to know how many people are going. You're the head chef. I'm gonna make you the head chef, but I want to know how many people are going to come to see just you.
Mm-hmm. Not to see your
not
servers,
to see the restaurant. I want to
yeah.
know how many people you're going to bring in.
Yep.
To the bar to see you, not to eat your food, not to listen to your music, just to see you.
No, and that's what's crazy is like it always comes back on the DJ too. Like if it's a slow night, it's like, oh, like Diesel, why didn't you bring in more people? It's not, oh, like, damn, we didn't put any promo up on Facebook, Instagram, any of our socials. Oh, the bottle girls didn't book a single table. Oh, these bartenders didn't bring any friends in. It's always like
we're the first to go.
Yeah,
we're always the first to go.
It's always
first to blame, first to go.
Yep.
Slow season. I mean, if I could tell you how many times I've lost a gig during slow season and then got it back
when
like halfway through busy season, where they're like, oh fuck, we fucked up.
Yeah.
What's that? Hangover?
Yeah.
They're like,
we fucked up.
we fucked up.
Yeah. Bradley Cooper, you know?
Yeah.
No, I agree 100%, but it's kind of crazy. Just how much more you have to do aside from just DJing nowadays.
I mean, I'm not saying don't do anything, right?
No, you should. I mean, you should.
You should be on your TikTok. You should be on.
Yeah.
And what
100%,
I'm hearing
it helps
now
your brand.
is that because Facebook is doing so poorly, they've backed off on the algorithm for their reels.
Oh, really?
So like the Facebook reels apparently are getting out to more people now than like any Instagram reels. You know, it's just a game. They're always playing. They're always changing it.
Yep.
You know, once one gets popular, more popular than the other, then everybody else changes their rhythms to try to get. You know, and like clearly since COVID, TikTok's been running everything.
Yeah.
Like it is. Like it is what it is. But you gotta have all those. If you're a DJ, like I'm the worst at this, but I know it's something I need to do. Like record a couple of your mixes, put them on SoundCloud. You know, record them and put them on Mixcloud or whatever source you want to use, but put content out there for them to take.
Yeah.
Right. You know, when I first moved here, I promised everybody I would give you them I would check in every couple of days on TikTok, and I just didn't do it. And then I'm like sitting here a year later going, wow, I don't wonder why I don't have as many TikTok followers as I should.
And
it's because I didn't fucking put the work in.
Yeah. Or just putting content out.
But
some of that time
we're getting to the point where like bookers, and I'm talking to like there's only a couple of guys in the country that did the same thing I did, which was run a bunch of nightclubs that we flew in artists to. Like we weren't just booking local guys, we were flying in guys. So you meet those guys that are kind of booking the same guys in, Ohio and then Chicago and New York, the small places and the big places, right? And what they're saying now, because they're still in that industry, is that there's like this, they feel like there's this movement of owners only wanting to know how many followers, how many views their last TikTok got.
Yeah.
Or how many like followers they have on TikTok. And it's like, okay, but do you want this to be just a TikTok appearance? Is that what you're looking for? Or are you looking for a DJ? Well, no, I'm looking for a DJ. Okay, well then, like, there's only these DJs, and they're going to cost you a lot of money that are going to bring. And like, no, we would need to find somebody that's a DJ. And it's like, hold on. You want me to make somebody up that fits your dream, like ideal thing? It's not going to happen. But at the same time, that's what they're leaning towards. They want to see TikTok numbers in
you know who like Sick Kick is?
Yeah.
So like that's like one I think of where it's like
greatest concept ever. Execution wise, I don't believe that he's actually
he doesn't
playing his mixes. I've
he doesn't
sources, but greatest concept. I don't think he's following through currently with it enough. There's only so many like mashups you can do before you have to like start getting to like the character is what it is. It hasn't evolved from what it is in the beginning, so it's kind of just sitting there. That character needs to evolve into something new.
Yeah. I just look at it like as a consumer, and I'm like, why the fuck would I want to go and see this? But then I also feel like I'm just thinking of it as like a DJ, knowing that he's not actually DJing. Where then I'm just like, as a fucking venue owner, I'm like, why the fuck would I be paying you $10,000 to come do this shit when you're not even DJing, and probably are gonna fuck up the night because the shit that you're playing isn't even gonna be good on your pre-recorded mix.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just fucking weird. But that is something that gets looked at where it's like, cool, he's got all these followers. We can pay him $10,000 and charge X amount for tickets or cover and make it back. So it's huge to know like all that different side of your branding and what you can bring to the table to talk about when you are negotiating rates and things like that, where it's like, cool, I got 1 million followers on TikTok. Like, pay me more. I will
say this: if you're about to negotiate with somebody, it will be the best thing that you could do for yourself to literally have the conversation out loud with yourself.
Yeah,
you don't have to answer for them. Just this is what I want. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to see this. And even if you want to be aggressive at it, kind of gives yourself a little bit of content. You don't have to do it in the conversation. But having that conversation, even if you have like a spouse, like I have my wife, and I'll just tell her, hey, I'm going to say this. This is like, but I want you to oppose everything to the most annoying point. Right. So my mind starts thinking in ways like she may not ask the same question he's going to ask, but she might have asked something that triggered me to think about that.
Yeah.
Answer to that question. So, I mean, I sent you notes for this podcast. Like there were certain things that I wanted to discuss. I went over everyone. This is what I want to say. This is not what I want to say. This is what I want to say. This is not what I want to say. Just so that I would be able to articulate
when it actually comes up,
what I'm actually trying to say.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. And I mean, you want, even though a lot of people look at compromise like as somebody else, one party, one or the other. That's kind of how it is, but compromise feels good in business. People like to know you're getting something and I'm getting something.
Mm-hmm.
Most business people don't want to get over on you. Most of them don't want to be like, I'm taking everything from you. Like, no, you're never. Like, they're gonna enjoy that back and forth. So you'll understand like when you do that stuff, like how it feels.
Yeah, and for you, like your branding. I mean, we've talked about it before, where you have your brand. Where even sitting here right now, I mean, you're always it's like, that brand of oh, that's Diesel, because you're always wearing the glasses.
Yeah.
You typically always have like a hat on. Where like Maddie, when I forget when it was, like the other week when we went out, and it's like you like took your glasses off in the middle of the night, and she's like,
I never seen you without glasses.
yeah, she's like, I don't even think I've actually ever like seen your eyes. Like, and for me, it's like there's so many artists that do that now, where they have that specific look where they'll wear like a hat, or they'll wear a certain style of glasses or some kind of outfit, and it's like that just becomes part of the brand. Where for you, I mean, is that something that you've like planned, or is it just like it just came about over time?
It came from my very first tattoo artist. His name's Mike Volokakis. I think he still lives in Portland.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guitar player, an amazing tattoo artist. Met him when I was like 20 years old. And we met in Eugene, Oregon. And he was tattooing me, and there was some weird music playing. He's like, how do you like the music? It wasn't his music.
Yeah.
He was just like, how's the music? And I was like, yeah, it's all right. I don't really know who this band is, but it's cool. And he's like, well, what do you want to listen to? And I was like, it's fine, dude. Just leave this on. And he's like, no, what do you want to listen to? And I was like, well, you're going to make fun of me, but whatever. Blink-182. From San Diego. Blink-182 was a very important band in my life.
That was my first ever concert.
It was my first ever concert.
Yeah.
But it was back when they were like playing like smaller places.
Yeah.
Because I was in San Diego, and my buddy, who basically introduced me to like everything culture wise that I've like love, he took me to a concert, and he was like, and I was like, oh wait, this is amazing. Like, this is great. And well, at that time, like being half Mexican and living in San Diego, I was leaning towards my cholo side.
Okay.
Like heavy.
Yeah.
Right. And I was probably going to wind up getting in trouble.
Yeah.
The people that I hung around with are all like in trouble. Mm-hmm. Some of them are locked up. A lot of them have records, like all that kind of stuff. So I just I was like, oh, there's another option. You don't have to be, because that was very like ingrained. Like, this is what you are. You have to do it. Not from my family, but from like the surrounding families that were like Latin.
Yeah.
Like my Mexican families. And I was like, okay. But he showed it to me, and I was like, Blink-182. And he just told me, he was like, yeah, I'll put Blink-182 on. And he was like, what? He's like, dude, be you. Like, just like what you like.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit what anybody else likes. And that's where that whole brand came from, was like, for the longest time, I had a mohawk, a shaved mohawk, not a faux hawk, a full-on 10-inch shaved like mohawk. Like,
yeah.
And it went down into a tail, and I would wear it like whatever I liked. If it was skate clothes or whatever I liked, it was just because I was like, I'm going to be me. Right? I'm not going to let anybody else tell me what to do. Like, so that's where it kind of came from. It was like, I have always loved silver jewelry. So like, I bought some silver jewelry. Like they're all kind of a little bit special to me. Like, my wife bought this one for me. Austin Burke bought this one for me. My daughter bought this one for me, and this was the first one my parents bought me. Mm-hmm. So they're all kind of sentimental. My daughter gave me this little necklace here. It's probably not even showing right now.
You can see under the beard.
Yeah. To deal with anxiety. It's a bloodstone, right?
Yeah.
So like, there are things that mean stuff to me, but they just happen to like look a certain. They kind of fall into like what I like. I like certain things, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, this is. I'm sure that people are probably wondering what it says on my hat. It just stands for those who sin. A great brand that I've loved since the day they've started. Always been a fan of theirs. I can't even really describe it. Like, biker streetwear. It's just great stuff. Mm-hmm. They had Terry Urban as one of their artists early on, and I'm a huge fan of him from art, and I can thank my art love from fashion, because fashion like was showing me stuff about art. I'll never know as much about art as fashion will, but I know what I like. And that's kind of like all the people that I've looked at as mentors in my life, same theme. Be you.
Yeah.
Do what you like. Just be you. So that's kind of where the brand came from. Like, the beard has always been here.
The beard is fucking iconic. Yeah, we love the beard. Yeah.
It's all practical, people. Okay, the glasses are they don't get dark. They just dim things down. You can still see my eyes. You can still see everything. Like it's not.
You can still play in the nightclub with.
It's still just I'm in the nightclub, but it's not as intense. Maybe it's because I'm getting old. Whatever. The beard is just hiding my double chin, guys.
It's called strategy. It's called strategy. All right.
It's just hiding my double chin.
Yeah.
And that leads to like drinking too much in the nightlife.
Yeah.
Just like Darren said, like he had a heart attack when he came here. And I don't know what induced that. He hasn't said that, but he definitely has said that the partying didn't help.
No, for sure. Yeah. It's definitely something that was like, it's from over time, like him always being in the nightlife industry, constantly drinking, not necessarily being the most healthy person, because you're coming home at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. You're eating shit food
because nothing healthy's open.
Correct. Yeah, and
a lot of us would love to eat healthier.
Oh yeah, like if I could get a nice chicken salad at 3 in the morning. Yeah. Maybe I would do it.
If you're finding a chicken salad at 3 in the morning, it's
probably not good.
At 3 p.m.
Yeah, it's not going to be the best salad you've ever had. But also, when I'm drunk, do I want a salad? Fuck no. Give me a fucking pizza, 100% of the time, and then that's what leads to just poor health. So
yeah, I mean we do have poor health, like for those reasons, but also the mental health side of it is a little different too, because here's the thing that happens to most DJs most of the time. I wish I could find the fucking study. I can't remember because I've read it like 10 years ago. Somebody did some kind of study, and I don't know exactly all the details, but it basically boiled down to they were basically saying, in comparison, it's like a DJ DJing for 4 hours is kind of like a student taking the SATs.
Oh,
you're making a critical good decision every 2 or 3 minutes that could affect your job, right? Your livelihood, right? So most of the people when they're taking the SATs, they're thinking my whole life is depending on these SATs. If you're a kid that took the SATs, that's kind of how you were thinking.
Yeah.
If you're a kid that didn't take them, you didn't care. Or you just had, I'm sure there's some exceptions.
Yeah.
And when I started thinking about that, I'm like, and then there's years that I'll go where I'm not drinking at all. And I'll get home and I am just emotionally tired. I didn't do anything. I stood there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not dancing. I'm like, I'm not talking to people, but it's because you're making those decisions.
Your brain is still working. Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Like you don't have a break. Maybe you can run to the bathroom if you play a long song.
Yeah.
But for 4 hours, you pretty much don't have a break. And so like that side of it is you're always making a critical decision. And then you pile on top of that, security has a comment on how your DJ set went. Bartenders have a comment on how your DJ set went. Servers have a comment on how your DJ set went.
Yeah.
Now, granted, these are all people you have to work for and all that stuff, and we're all pretty good at like keeping them happy and stuff like that, and trying to make them feel. But at the end of the day, we're not really there to make the bartenders, servers, and security happy. We're there to help them with their job so that they can all make money. So you have to walk that line. And when they critique something, did they critique it on them having a bad night or making shitty tips?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, it's the fucking DJ, he did this.
Or was it actually a valid criticism?
Or is it a valid criticism?
Yeah.
And what is their experience?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've been a bartender at the Frosty margarita bar for 5 years, and now I'm here at this nightclub.
Yeah.
And of course I know what a nightclub should be playing. It's like, well, no, you've been to a nightclub. You haven't worked in a nightclub. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what is the background of all that? So you're consistently analyzing all of this criticism being shoved into you on top of being a sensitive person because you're an artist. And that's why you're an artist, is because you're sensitive to things that some people aren't sensitive to. And that is a really hard thing for a lot of guys to get through. Like, a lot of guys will get to a certain age and be like, and all those like whispers of like, you're just a DJ, you're just that. They start to break them down, and then the next thing you know, they're selling insurance, or they're doing something else, and they always wind up coming back every once in a while to like a gig.
Yeah,
I see that a lot. Like 5 years later, like, oh, they pop up somewhere doing maybe not the coolest gig in the world, but a gig.
yeah.
And you don't have to be the coolest. Like, if you're a guy that plays on the corner bar for $500 a night on Friday and Saturday,
fucking works, man.
that's $4,000 a month.
Yep.
That is very good money. It's not the greatest money in the world, but it's good money.
Mm-hmm.
And you're working 2 days a week, 8 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have time to grow yourself and turn yourself into what you want to be. But it's not bad for retirement.
Yeah.
Like, I know spots. If you want to know spots, you can hit me up in the DMs, and I'll send you spots that are in small ass towns that would like pay that kind of money. A lot of these owners are willing to pay for good talent.
Yeah.
Like, if you're good, they're like, okay, I can justify him being $500 a night. Cool. But St. Thomas, for sure. St. Thomas, that's the main goal.
Yeah.
Is to raise enough money to buy my own bar and put it in St. Thomas. Because that island is
And then
is
just
amazing.
be able to chill there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't
It's
be
a very
mad about it.
underrated spot that people don't. I think it's underrated for most of us, but St. Thomas has Megan's Bay.
Yeah.
And Megan's Bay is where like John Travolta and Oprah have their beach houses. Right? That's where we can.
And then you end up doing private events for Oprah and you make even more money.
Yeah, there you go. But it's just one of those like, what are you gonna? You should really think like about this as a career.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's people that look at it. There are certain people that do.
There's definitely a good amount of DJs that they're just in it for the now and like the clout and all that kind of stuff, where they're not looking bigger picture of like, damn, how can I progress at this? Where that's something that we for the episode that just dropped today with Chaos, that's something that we talked about, and it's something that we've obviously just talked about now with being a promoter and building your brand and having to be more than a DJ is something
the remix
that
is out.
Yeah.
Like Joe Maz. Did you know that Joe Maz produced Rihanna's whole show for
the
Super Bowl?
That is not true.
Yeah.
Not true.
You didn't know he produced the whole show for Rihanna and the Super Bowl?
No. He made edits and remixes for it, but that's not true. Chaos, you're going to get some shit for that one. Yeah.
I expect every person on this episode to make that same comment from now on.
Yeah. He will definitely get some shit for it when it comes out. So,
dude, he's a hockey guy. He can take it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
He's able to take a ribbing.
But yeah, that's where you have to think of how you're going to progress in your career. I mean, because if you were just working any other job, you're not just going to be content with. I mean, I would hope not, at least content with just like being in a stagnant position and being like, oh, cool, I'm this, like, I'm going to be fine with being this for the next 10 years. Like, no, you want to progress. So you have to look at what you need to do to progress, whether it is building that brand, whether it is getting into production, making edits, making remixes, stuff like that. Going into something on a different side of music, of management or A&R or anything like that. There's so many different realms of the music industry that you can get into. It's literally kind of endless.
Yeah, there's just so much out there like that you could make this career into.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of guys have turned it into successful podcasts. A lot of guys have turned them into successful clothing lines.
Yep.
Excel, I think, is probably one of my favorite designers that I never knew, like clothing designers that I never knew that I would be in love with, like his design so much. And he's just a creative person. He's also one of those type of people that's always been like, do you, like, be you. And it shows in his clothing line and stuff like that. That, he's the one who inspired me to start like during COVID, I had a small clothing line, which was Black Hearts Club, and he was like, try it. He's like, at least figure out how it works online, right? If it's a clothing line that you just shut down and then start again somewhere else with a different brand, okay, but at least you've worked all the
the kinks out.
How does drop shipping work, and how does who do I have to do this, and I got to link this to that place and advertise through here and pay this bill, and just like running those clothing lines. If people run them, it's not just drawing something or putting something on a t-shirt and going here. Like there's a lot of logistics behind it. So
yeah.
That's like during COVID, I was like, oh, I just want to see if I could make some money.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Black Hearts Club.
Well, Black Hearts Club was just kind of like, I've been a huge fan of just like emo music my entire life. And there's so much about emo music that's like healing and also like good but sounds bad at the same time. So I was just like, sometimes I would take lyrics from bands and put them on shirts. Sometimes I would just come up with different things. Like I have a couple of the ones here. Like one of them is like, a lot of people don't know this. Do you know where the actual saying of blood is thicker than water came from?
No.
The actual saying is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And what it's actually saying is, it kind of boils down to is the people that you choose as your family are going to always be closer to you than the people that actually like bore you. What it really boils down to when it was said was the church is more important than the family.
Yeah.
Right. Which we know that's kind of a dictatorship kind of thing. But the way that the real statement was, the people that you choose are more important, than the people that the family that you were born into.
Mm-hmm.
And so that to me was like, a lot of people don't know this. People don't understand that. And that means like, and then we would just add something like, like live forever or something like that, or like best friends forever. What, I think I put something in Spanish on there. But it was just one of those, family forever is what I think I said, like family forever. Because there's just so much out there that could be positive too.
Yeah.
And there's other ones that are just like very eye-opening onto how hurt somebody can be, and I think one of the lyrics was, I hope the next boy you kiss has something terribly contagious on his lips. You hurt that motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's a guy that wrote that lyric.
Yeah.
That's a guy that said that. You hurt him. Like, granted, it's a shitty thing to say. But if he's being honest with himself, like something got hurt.
Yeah.
And that's not like a thing that's common for anyone to really acknowledge right now, is that like, it's not okay for men to like get hurt. Like, to have feelings, to feel sad, to feel alone. I think all of us kind of transplants grow together, because we all miss like having our mom around the corner, or having our, our best friend around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You move, and it's like you probably know this with your girl, like it's just you two here.
Yeah.
Like that's your support system.
Yep.
And sometimes it can be too much of each other. I'm not saying you said that. I can say that about me and my wife. But it doesn't mean I love her any less and don't want to be with her. It's just, those are types of things that people kind of pass over. I did want to talk about like how we're not, like, I don't feel like we're respected as human beings when we're DJing.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, just getting phones shoved in your face and
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like look, I get it if you're at Dylan Francis' show and you can't reach him and you can't go up and talk to him, but you're shoving.
See, but I don't get it at that, because you're there to see a fucking artist. Like those, I get even less.
Well,
I get
Dylan's stuff was more like, "Will you have my baby?"
Yeah,
like
I get that.
But yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense.
Like requesting songs at an actual artist show will never fucking make sense to me. Like you're literally there to see that artist.
Yeah.
And more than likely, like they're gonna play their songs because it's fucking them.
Their show, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to a Drake concert and requesting a fucking Drake song. Like, just let him play his fucking set. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you're asking him to have your babies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the phone thing. Like, for me, I agree with you 100%. It's like, where else in society is that acceptable for me to not say a word? Now, I get it that you guys think it's loud and we can't hear you, but guess what?
Yeah.
Most of us have control over the monitor booth, so we can turn it down. So we can talk to you. I have no problem with any request. I'll try to fill any request because I feel like it is a challenge to me to see if I can make it work. If you're being nice to me.
Yeah.
If you address me in a manner,
but like nice or fake nice, because
I almost don't even care.
Okay.
Like fake, give me an example of fake nice.
Because you get the people that are like, hey, it's my friend's birthday, like, and they come up with, or they'll be like, hey, like, you're doing a great job, but like, and you know that they're literally just coming up to you just to request a song.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because at least they know in their mind that an interaction between two human beings should start off
with
friendly.
Some sort of
It
conversation.
shouldn't just be aggression right away. My problem is, and here's the thing, I've been thinking about it a lot. I almost don't even, like, personally, don't even care about the phones if they would just add the word please.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they're just going, do this. And you're like, if we're just going to do this and you hold up your phone for a song, put a jukebox in here.
Yeah.
Like, why am I here if you're just going to, there's no communication.
Yeah.
I feel like if they come up and they're like polite about it and I go, yeah, like, we'll figure it out. But it's typically, and I'm not going to say it's girls only because guys do this too. It's just this barging to the front of the DJ booth and demanding something be played.
Yeah.
Because you don't like what's being played now.
For the 2 minutes that it's going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying not to go down that same road of like, oh, your request was, you said it was the greatest and I played it and I looked at you and you're the only one dancing. Like,
yeah.
That's all happened before. We all kind of know that. DJs know that shit. I'm talking about that we should really, like, it just plays up to the fact that we aren't really seen as human beings.
Yeah.
We're the joke of, like, the entertainment world, essentially, right? And when we're DJs, like, it's not like, how many times of like, oh, I can't play that, I'm sorry. Like, there's stuff you can't play in a certain venue.
Yeah.
Like, certain pieces are just like,
or it just doesn't fit the night.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to hear one house song tonight, period.
Yep.
Like, we're not a house club. That's it. You're cool, you can't do it. And somebody comes and asks for it. Like, I can't, like, and then it's this long negotiation of like, I can't, like, really, they kind of told me not to. Well, they're not going to care. It's just 5 minutes. And it's like, well, no, I could get fired. Well, it doesn't matter. Well, I'll give you $50. And it's like, oh, your $50 is going to pay. Like, this is a $500 to $1,000 gig for me. And your $50 isn't going to keep me afloat. Or
for the next gigs. Yeah. That
7 months when I'm supposed to be playing this gig when I get fired.
Yeah.
Like, it's this, you're not a human being. The consequences don't mean anything to you because they don't mean anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my personal opinion is it's a mentality that the younger patrons have.
Yeah.
But it's not their fault. It's the fault of this right here. The iPhone, the iPad, the Mac generation. Everything is about me. The TikTok, Instagram, everything is focused on you. All of your entertainment is focused directly to what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you go to a concert, all your entertainment is focused directly to what you want because you chose that concert.
Yeah.
When you're at a nightclub, it's not only about you. It's about everybody in the
hundreds
building.
And hundreds of other people. And
that's like a hard concept for people to understand.
Yeah, and there's alcohol involved too. So then it's like once people are drunk, they're not even.
You act more like yourself when you're drunk anyway.
Yeah.
All your mind is being programmed all day. It's about me. The world is about me. The world is about me.
Yeah, it's wild out there. Like some videos and things that you see of people just like shoving.
Sambuca Girl's my favorite. I want to teach.
Oh my God, I love that girl.
I would love to meet her because she wasn't.
Take 4 Sambuca.
She wasn't being rude. She was just drunk.
She was trying to tip and everything.
Yeah,
like,
that was like, like she was
trying to pay.
Yeah, And that's why that's a funny video to see.
That video is hilarious.
She might be embarrassed about it. I hope you're not embarrassed about it. Every person's been that drunk and done something stupid like that.
Oh yeah.
God only knows how many men have peed in their closets, okay? Like being that drunk. It's happened to a lot of them. But it's funny because it's like she wasn't being mean. So we can laugh and enjoy it and go, she was just drunk. She just didn't know where she was, and we've all been there. That's kind of what we're all laughing at. Where some of that stuff gets, I mean, I've done some pretty terrible things in my past. I mean, there's definitely been a time, a lot of the venues in Arizona, half the venues open with garage doors, and dude walked up to me and literally the phone, he had it written on his phone, and he handed me his phone. I thought he was requesting a song. Packed night, college Wednesday night at ASU, packed. And this is like in its prime. This guy was from out of town, not part of the college kids. Walked up, handed me his phone. I looked at it, and it said, "Hey, you fat piece of shit, you're not Carnage. Play better music." I just took his phone and threw it out the window in the middle of the street. Probably 200 feet. Just fucking went back to DJing, and he lost his shit. And I was like,
I would too.
What caused you to think
that's
any
okay?
human being that would be able to, that's the first interaction you have with them.
Yeah.
What caused you to think that would be okay without any repercussions?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not here to be his dad or be in the repercussions. I lost my shit in that moment, but I wouldn't have lost my shit had he not brought that phone up there, and I shouldn't have lost my shit.
But it's like that kind of thing.
That's the
where,
consequence of your action. You don't know what's going to happen. Now, granted, I didn't react in the best way, but it's still a consequence of your actions.
But you also could have reacted in a lot worse way by like punching him in the fucking face or something like that too.
And in that, but it's just because that's that people don't realize that that's the kind of abuse. I mean, I had a girl the other day that was, gosh, she was. I only can think that she was going through something that day.
Yeah.
Because, we know right now, like, Fred Again's having a moment, like a huge moment. So I was playing some Fred Again records, some other, like, deep house records and stuff like that. And it was on the roof at Whiskey Row. It's not a big spot. We had about 20 people just around me, just like, it was raining outside, so the outside was closed. So 20 people was kind of packing that place, right?
Oh yeah,
because
inside that rooftop,
is
for
small.
sure.
And so we're all just kind of doing our thing, having people are requesting songs. John Summit, okay, I'll play that because it was just a vibe, right? There was nobody like everybody there was vibing.
Yeah.
Well, she came up, and granted, she didn't know that I played hip hop right before I went into that set. She comes in and starts pushing people out of the way, right? They're all facing the DJ booth, and we're just like, I'm looking at phones, and we're just it's one of those moments you have where it's a group together.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like a tiny boiler room.
Like a
set,
boiler room. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just people and they're having a great time, and I'm letting them have a great time. And she just barrels through and pushes her way through. You need to play harder music right now. This is crap. I'm not going to say the artist that she wrote, what she requested, but she wanted a certain style of music that wasn't that.
Yeah.
And just unloaded on me, just unloaded. And I turned the thing down and I said, I'm sorry, I will play that music in a little bit, but I'm going to finish up playing this right now because they're really enjoying it. And she goes, nobody enjoys this.
While everyone else is sitting
and I
there
said,
like
well,
dancing.
I'm sorry that everybody else is having a good time and your time sucks. Turned the music back on. She walked away, went immediately downstairs and told security, the DJ on the roof is an asshole. And I'm like,
who do you think they're going to side with? Like,
oh, they always side with the customer.
What?
They always side with the customer.
Really?
100%.
Damn. Now where I'm from.
Yeah. Most of the places that I've worked will always side with the customer because they feel like the customer doesn't have a reason to lie.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is they're not analyzing like what the interaction that happened.
Yeah.
Their response is, it doesn't matter how poorly somebody treats you, you should never treat them back poorly.
Yeah.
And while that is
I'll be a fucking dickhead to people.
I'm not Gandhi.
Yeah.
And neither is anybody else that works there.
Yep.
If anybody else that worked at that bar was spoken to some of the ways that the DJs get spoken to, the bartenders would be coming flying over the bars more often.
Yeah.
like I'm not saying more often. They would come flying over the bars. They don't come flying over the bars now. It's just this. I don't know. Sometimes it feels demoralizing because I've had people say, "Just go back to your job and play your little music." It's like, okay, I get it, but I don't understand why you needed to be so aggressive towards me.
Yeah.
Now, I get the look is a little intimidating, and maybe that I get a little bit more than other people. But at the same time, I really try to be super nice to everybody that I am. But I'm also not the guy that's going to lie to you. Like, that's one of the biggest things I don't like is like, oh, I already played your song. Like, do they come and request it, and then like 10 minutes later they come back and like, oh yeah, I played it. I'm like, yeah, that's not. I wouldn't want to be dealt with that way, so I don't deal with it. I just explain to them it's coming up, or it's just not going to work in the set.
Yeah,
like it's not going to work. And a lot of times when it's something like that, it'll be like a random track that's an album cut that only them and their friends know.
Yeah,
which I get. Again, people have a hard time understanding that
there's more than just you.
Sorry, nightclubs are about everybody.
Yeah,
they're not
just about you and your
and
five
it's not their
friends.
fault. It's not that they're thinking wrong. They're being programmed that way. Through all of the technology that's everything that we're doing nowadays.
It just makes it very easy to have everything at your fingertips whenever you want. So you can just be like, cool, I want to listen to this. But it's like, cool, if you want to hear that bad, you can listen to it on the way home tonight. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like
patience is like it's something I feel like we need as a society. I think we need to focus on it a lot.
Yeah.
More. Really putting ourselves in the other person's shoe. And I'm not saying that from like a political standpoint. I'm just saying that from a human being standpoint.
Yeah.
Like really trying to understand what the other person's interpretation of your interaction with them is.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they talk about, responding to a situation instead of reacting to it. Response is a thought out.
Versus like a rash reaction right away.
A thought out answer to that. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like what I put in my notes right there. The word request in the Oxford
and the definitions,
Dictionary is an act of asking polite and formally for something. Even in the Urban Dictionary, it's to ask for something.
Yeah. It doesn't say anywhere on there, throw your phone in someone's face.
It doesn't say demand.
You know what's crazy is I think it would be so funny to do, I thought about this like years and years ago when like TikTok was first coming out, and then obviously like all the Bad Bunny stuff and people just constantly like putting the phone in the face. I think it'd be so funny for like a DJ to do like a TikTok video of them just walking into like a normal like office space and
Why
just
not?
like fucking slamming their phone in people's faces and be like, hey, print this out, or like whatever, like their like day-to-day task would be.
Send me those TPS reports.
Yeah. Give me that spreadsheet now, and just fucking like hold the phone in their face, and just see how people would react to it. It'd be fucking hilarious. Or like,
Well, you'd probably wind up with the police called on you.
for sure, yeah,
100%.
because you're in like
without like if it was a skit and somebody did it, it'd be okay. But
if you just walked into like a random office space and did it. But it'd be way funnier that way to get.
It would be the fucking clip of the century.
Yeah, so maybe I'll have to do it. This would be a good weekend to do it. Go walk into somewhere and fucking start throwing my phone in.
Green.
Yeah. but yeah, I mean, we'll have all this kind of knocked out. We'll get your top 5 songs put out. Yeah. Yeah. Typically ask for each guest, but you don't need it right now. We'll put it out on the YouTube.
Well, I can just do shameless self promotion. It's all the last 5 of my edits.
Do your own edits. See, that'd be a good one to do. What are your last 5? What have you been doing?
Oh, they're not.
What tracks?
Own Boss Birthday Bitch is a good one. A lot of DJs.
Own Boss is fucking dope.
So that's just quick mashup of that.
Yeah.
I think it bangs really hard. It's got a lot of lyrics in it, so it's really club friendly. And then the third drop is like the regular Own Boss.
Yeah. But then you're getting the least familiar lyrics over that beat.
And I mean, it's Nashville. There's a fucking birthday every
Yep.
half hour.
Yeah.
So
every half hour, probably even more than that. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's that. There's Audion and Miley Cyrus Flowers edit that I really like. I did a lot of production on I'll call it an edit, but it's essentially a remix of Illenium's Taylor Swift Anti-Hero. That one goes, I think, really, really well. Like, you can see like the kind of the trend is just putting edits together that are
club friendly
because you know those are that Anti-Hero song was a great song, but it's 95 BPM and it didn't really.
I play the DeVille Journey Anti-Hero a lot here, and it fucking goes off too.
I got to look at some of those too, because like what I am noticing is like as I'm going back through my history, it's like my sets are so heavily my edits that it could be creating a sound, like a specific sound, and I don't want.
Yeah.
Right? Like I want it to be a little bit heavier or like whatever, because I'm making club friendly edits, but I don't make as many heavy edits anymore.
Okay.
I used to make very, very heavy aggressive edits, but now I'm just making so many club friendly edits that it's kind of
you're
like,
going away from like the sound.
Yeah, and people have mentioned like you when you first came here, like you had some fucking rippers.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so I went back and I did an Unholy one and stuff like that. So like there's some heavier stuff coming out too, but
so where are you typically just putting stuff out? SoundCloud, Bandcamp?
SoundCloud, Bandcamp. SoundCloud, you can stream it as long as SoundCloud doesn't take it down. Bandcamp, you pay the $5. It's a $5 monthly subscription, and you can either stream or download the songs.
Nice.
They're all waves. I'm not putting out 320s or anything like that. So my kind of style came from, I don't know if you know who Girl Talk is, but he kind of just did his own thing. A lot of this stuff I've had to learn from, like how to call Joe Maz and ask him, call Fashion and ask him, call whoever I can to help me with that stuff. I mean, I send stuff to Alex from the Chainsmokers all the time, and he's like, thumbs up, or like, oh, this should change, or sounds like this, or whatever. It's just nice to have that kind of ear, be able to reach out to you and just and those are the guys that I look up to. So like, whether you're a Joe Maz fan or not,
fucking one hell of a producer.
He has a sound.
Yeah.
He's a producer. He's created his own niche in the market. He like, a lot of people don't realize, like him, there's like Scotty Boy, Steve Smooth, like these guys are consistently putting out remixes for a dance platform that we're not even hearing in the clubs.
Yeah.
Like they're getting asked all the time. Like you could do that. Like that's another chorus. Like you could produce edits and remixes for artists, for like mid-level artists. They just want a remix, so they're gonna send somebody $2,500 to make a remix, and you make a remix, and maybe something that never gets played, but you're still making some money on it.
Or even ghost producing shit too. I mean, even like a ghost producing type thing is something that a lot of people are talented enough to do. So could even
I mean, I'll be the asshole that says it online. I don't use it, but I know a lot of people that use ghostproducer.com.
Yeah.
Like,
that's okay.
Yeah, you pay you can pay
I didn't know
anywhere
that's
from
an actual website.
$199 to like $1,200.
Yeah.
On a song. It's already completely done. It's all the stems. It's everything you need.
Yeah.
And you just buy it. You're buying the rights to it, and then you can change it and make it however you want, or you can just release it as it is.
And be like, oh, I made this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're signing over their rights to you. And I thought everybody knew about it. I thought everybody knew about it.
I've never looked into any stuff like that. You just hear people.
But I'll buy something every once in a while. I'll be like, oh, this one's like $100 one, and I'll be like, okay, and I'll get it, and it's like some really good kicks and snares that I wanted,
and then you just steal those to put into other stuff. Yeah.
Mine's
basically an expensive splice pack.
Mine was always a lot of filtering sounds out.
Gotcha.
I was DIY acapellaing stuff when Audacity was the only way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know how to do that one, but basically you took the record with the words, and if you had the instrumental, you inverted the instrumental in a process. I don't know what it means. And then it would, because it was inverted, it would cancel out the frequency.
Yeah.
So when the only thing that would be left over would be the words. Oops,
so you could end up getting like the
so
acapella.
you get a pretty good acapella.
Yeah. Now they have Serato stems and stemverter and all that kind of stuff.
I just wish Serato would bring like, just do the stems, but leave the fucking reverb on.
Yeah.
It sounds. I can tell if you're doing Serato stems or if you're doing a mashup that you made.
Yeah.
Or it's the
actual
studio acapella.
Yep.
Because Serato stems is so dry. While it's a great technology and I think it has so much potential for art, it could change DJing completely. Because I could see it just being everything is a remix, everything is a live mashup now. Because some guys are doing that. There's just some things like that. That acapella sounds so dry to me when somebody's singing, like, it just stops. Like, I'm like, dude, there's a little bit of reverb just so it doesn't sound so dry.
No, stemverter is another one that from C-Flow that I hear a lot of DJs hype up and talk about it as
is
a
that
lot.
An Ableton plugin?
I don't know. I haven't looked like too much into it as far as like what it's compatible with and that kind of stuff. So I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm spending time on tech stuff this week, just looking at like the new mixer that come out, like the Opus.
The Opus, the
Atari. Opus Atari.
Yeah.
It's got some cool stuff on it, but it's weird. Like the distance from the play button on one to the bottom of the machine is different than the distance from the play button on the other.
The left side is different than the right?
Yeah, because it's concave like that.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It's curved like that. So this button's like closer to the edge, and this one's like more removed from the edge. So which is weird. Like,
damn, I feel like you would get like so muscle memory. Like,
yeah, there's some cool stuff about it, and then there's some not cool stuff about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can take the microphone off if you're recording your mix, so you can still be on the mic in the club,
record, but it would be set.
But it won't record your mic.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's cool. And then the big screen turns into like some kind of filter.
Yeah,
like you can be like, weird shit with it. So that's cool. But I've been in the tech side this week, just kind of looking at all the new stuff. And when I do that, I smoke a little bit of weed, and I go, where could this go? Like that's what I like to do. How far can this go? And I got one of the biggest compliments I've ever had was when loops first really came out, and I didn't have a lot of records with intros, so I literally went through and programmed. Like at the time, you couldn't even really program, but I knew what songs I put them in a crate that needed to be looped manually.
Yeah.
So I'd go in and manually loop the intros and loop words to get out of and stuff like that, just because it was a necessary thing for me. And I wound up opening for Vice one time, and he leaned over and he goes, "Never seen anybody use loops like that." And I was like, "Oh,
it was just started doing this,
not because I wanted to." And then I just started thinking, okay, well, every time they release something, I should look at it and what's the most abstract way you can use it?
Yeah.
To see if there's something that's there that can be used. So it's a good week.
Yeah, there's some new stuff coming out. Yeah, between that mixer too, which I have no idea how the fuck Pioneer goes about their naming for things, because what is this one called? The AX fucking 9 or some shit.
The A9, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, where do these? I don't know. I don't know who does the naming for Pioneer.
Well, I'm assuming the 9 is probably relevant of the 900.
The 900, yeah. I just don't know where like the naming come from. I feel like they just
Nexus
like
stuff. They just got rid of Nexus and just wrote NX.
Yeah.
So it was NX2. So like it was, that's just kind of. I'm wondering where that A came from. Maybe it's AI.
Maybe. We'd have to ask somebody.
No, watch. There's probably something in there. They're like, oh yeah, this can DJ. I mean, it does have. That's what's scary to me on that tech side, is it's not out yet, but there's going to be something called like Stage Pass or something like that. Stage something, the app.
Where you can do the sound.
A9.
Yeah.
But if the sound guy's using it on the app,
mm-hmm.
while you're mixing on channel 1 and you say you're blending this song, and he doesn't like how it sounds, he could turn the
down.
bass off.
Yep. Yeah.
On you, like he can control your EQs.
Yeah, you basically have full like audio engineering capability from the app, is what it looks like.
4 places in Nashville, which have
Yeah.
so many live sound guys, I think
would be huge. Yeah.
Is one of those situations where they know just enough to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They know enough of what they're trying to accomplish. You know enough of what you're trying to accomplish, but you're not communicating.
Yeah.
And then
so all of a sudden they're just going to
disaster.
take the fucking lows out of your sound and just make the song sound so fucked up. So, but yeah, we got to make sure we have everybody follow you. Instagram, it's DJ Diesel.
Wait, we still got a little bit more to talk about.
We do? What up? Oh man, what am I missing?
I collect nightlife stories.
Oh.
I have a lot of my own.
All right.
So I need your best nightlife story.
My best nightlife story?
And then I'll give you one of my best ones.
I mean, what are we talking here? Do we want something funny?
Whatever you create, whatever you witnessed or
We got a lot of sex related stories in Milwaukee.
Sex in the Booth?
Everything. So
Well, if you're playing swinger parties, that's going to happen.
no, that would be. We have played. They do this like furry convention every year, and they like would always come out and you're like, oh shit, like you don't know that it's that weekend until they all start coming out, and then you're like, oh fuck, like all these people are out here with name tags that just say like fuck me on them, and just like yeah, and you're like, what kind of fucking party is this? And then you like start putting it together. You're like, oh fuck, it's this weekend now. So, but no, we I think one of like the wildest stories. Man, there's a lot that are coming to my mind right now where it's just which route I want to go.
Why don't you pick the route you want to go, and then I'll find mine that seems it's in a similar vein.
All right. Yeah, I've seen some crazy shit, especially in the Milwaukee nightlife scene. There was a guy, and this is one of the grossest things I've ever even like seen in my life. Literally scooped out piss from a toilet and drank it in the middle of the nightclub. But then on the sex side of things, where I was going to go, when I think it was T.I. was in town, literally middle of the club, the girl started blowing one of like T.I.'s guys, middle of the club.
Like the Danny Brown video?
Yes. Literally, and they kind of had a few people circled up. And she just went in for a little bit and then
he
just
has his own podcast?
popped right back up. No, I didn't.
Yeah, he's on with Your Mom's House, which is Tom Segura.
Yeah.
Like he's got they have him as he's one of the podcasters. He's just
Really?
hilarious.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's just a really
Is he still doing
funny
like music and stuff or not really?
I don't think he does. I think
No?
he's just doing the podcast. Maybe
right.
he does some music.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. There's just some crazy shit that I've seen from
This is the
from
juicy
day to
stuff
day.
that like a lot of the people want to hear.
It's wild. I've walked in on like in a bathroom, like guy and girl fucking, and just like started talking and like laughing at him and stuff. Like just the middle of it, and you just walk back out and you're like, all right, go up, have fun with that. Like it's just there's crazy shit all the time. So it's. The nightlife is a wild industry where you can see some wild things.
It is amazing to me at the level of the confidence in that people have and that they are correct and righteous in what they are doing.
Yeah.
When they're drunk.
Oh yeah.
You don't, excuse me, honey. You don't understand who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? My dad's a lawyer.
Yeah. Do you know who my dad is?
I was like, oh.
Oh God. Oh.
And then you find out later, like her dad's a lawyer in like some small towns in the Midwest, and like he's like a public defender or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, so that was he's coming after me.
I am no longer worried.
On
Not
the
that I
gross
was
side
before,
of
but
things. Let's see. I'll sell this one because we can have Eric Sanchez validate it because he was the manager on duty.
oh god,
In Scottsdale. So in Scottsdale, if anybody's ever been to El Jefe, there's like a confetti cannon right next to it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a confetti cannon in the DJ booth. But it's like a big metal box, probably a metal box about the size of this one of these cushions here. And there was tables on each side of the DJ booth, and then it was in there right next to me. And so the tables were raised up, right? So full on raging Saturday night, blah, blah, blah. And I've got this girl taps me on the shoulder. She's from the table because it's me, my buddy that's kind of behind me, and then the confetti cannon and my sister over here. And well, it's not my sister. She's the girl that I have to say that because my wife will kill me if I say she's my sister. A friend of mine.
yeah.
And she's like tapping my buddy Kellen, and then she's tapping me. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I need to come down there right now. I need to come down there right now. I'm like, in the DJ booth, why? Like, okay. And then she just steps over. Like falls right into the confetti cannon. Confetti cannon work on CO2. So it's got like the CO2 tank, and then there's like a rope around, like a rubber hose.
Yeah.
I don't know how this girl did it. She fell into the tank, but like also like into the hopper for the confetti, but like wrapped her leg in the cable too. So like we're getting her out. Kellen grabs her like by her top. I'm grabbing her leg and like unwinding the rope or the hose off of it. My sister's like trying to help her pull her because she can't have any weight. Like she's in the box and hanging out of the box. So she's not on the ground. So they're all trying to lift her up and get her out of the box. I'm going to break your goddamn mic. I'm sorry. Talk with my hands.
It'll be all right.
We get her out and she just darts off, just takes off down the stairs out of the DJ booth towards the front door. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to playing music. And all of a sudden, my entire arm gets warm. Like warm. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look down at the same time as my sister looks down at her arm, because she said her arm got warm. And there is blood covering my whole hand, covering her shoulder all the way down on the floor. So I immediately open a bottle of Kettle that we had just got given.
Ugh.
And I just start pouring it all over my arm and my sister's. I'm like, oh my God, she must have cut herself on the fucking machine. Like, because it's metal, right?
Yeah.
So just gouged that. I'm like, holy crap. My sister's yelling at me and I can't hear what she's yelling because the monitor's loud. I'm like, what? Blah, blah, blah. I keep saying my sister, but whatever. She's yelling at me. She's like, ah. I'm like, I don't know. What, like I'm pouring it. I'm like, I'm trying to DJ, busy, like there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not paying attention to what I'm pouring stuff on her. And she turns the monitor down and she goes, it's period blood.
I was hoping you weren't going to say that.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, no way. She's like, it's period blood. Oh, it's period blood. I'm like, oh my God, we get it off. We get like, they give alcohol wipes. They bring all the medical kit, like, wiping it off. And I'm like, she's just saying that. It's just blood. Eric was coming to the DJ booth when that happened. The girl ran right into him, like almost knocked him over. And she goes, I cut myself on the dance floor. I cut myself. And she was wearing a skirt. And he said, he looked at her and went, looks like you just started your period. And she got really embarrassed and ran to the bathroom. He has this picture. I don't know if it's still on his phone. He sent it to me. The bathroom looked like a person exploded in there. There was blood everywhere all over that bathroom. But yeah, it wound up being period blood.
That is fucking disgusting.
You went with disgusting. You chose disgusting.
I know, but I would have thrown up. Oh my God. I don't know if I'd be able to keep DJing. I feel like I would be so grossed out that I would I would have to burn my arm off.
It was pretty traumatic. But I would have to credit Riot's security staff for like immediately bringing over like
alcohol wipes and shit like that.
Wipes, the like everything they needed to do to walk the floor. Everything to like make it sanitary. They just like it was like once they knew what it was, boom, everybody moved into action and cleaned it all up and then like within 10 minutes, nobody even knew. Like it just smelled like Fabuloso in the building.
And
They
on
had
that
the
note,
biohazard bags and everything.
on that note, kids, that's gonna do it. No,
Beware of those confetti booths.
Yes. Oh,
Confetti cannons in the booth.
I don't think it was the confetti cannon. Yeah, but yeah. Make sure you guys go follow Diesel at DJ Diesel, DeeJay.
Maybe if you guys respond enough to this, then he'll let me do a mix too. So.
Oh, I've been letting you do one. I sent you the dates. You gotta get one lined up. What do you got coming up? Where are you at in the next? Let's go next week.
It's just season here.
Yeah.
So we've got. I know there's a couple big pool parties this year.
I cannot wait to get into some pool parties. We've been talking about it.
I can't wait to get you to the lake.
Yeah. So I've been told about the lake.
That is
lake
not
season.
something that I experienced growing up on the West Coast. Lake life isn't.
Oh, I'm a huge lake guy. I'm a water skier.
Like with like a sandbar, and people just kind of go out in the middle of the lake and just stand. Like it looks like there should be. It should be
50 feet deep, and all of a sudden you're just standing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just not like. Growing up on I just never.
I got to get Luna to learn how to swim, so I'm down to go to some lakes. She hasn't been around the water too much, so.
Yeah, I mean that we go and it's like we run into because of nightlife. You know so many people that are out there because it's kind of the same thing. It's just nightlife during the day.
Yeah, day life. Yeah, but yeah, we got to make sure that we link up for any of that kind of stuff. The pool parties once that gets starting too. Definitely gonna have to stop by and check those out. So, make sure we're going.
You let me ramble on and.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come out here and jump on the show, tell your story.
Hopefully we get to see more of you on Broadway. That's the best. Now that the times changed, I'm telling you, I go to work on Saturdays and just thank the Lord that I have the job that I have because I have a view off the top of the roof. It's beautiful weather for 5 months out of the year. I'm like, this is beautiful and amazing. And like I said, man, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. But yeah, make sure you guys tapping that subscribe button on YouTube. We got a couple great shows coming up on the platform mix. This week we had Franco on it. Closing out the rest of the month, we got Chisel from Miami. One of my favorites. He always puts down a very, very good mix.
To watch for the future.
Yeah.
That guy's going to be.
You talk branding and content. I mean, that's somebody that's on top of his branding game.
He's a helper because I've never met him. I only know him through like through some guys that know him in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
But I reached out to him and I was like, hey, when I was doing the t-shirt line, just a little side note with Chisel, I was like, yo, what blanks do you use? Like, what are you using? And he's like, oh, I use this blank and I use this. Like, he was very helpful.
Yeah.
In like opening that side of his community to that, like, because he sells t-shirts and like people buy his shit. Like, he's got good designs. He's got good branding. He's in the right spots at the right time. He thinks about, he's somebody that if you're close to him or if you're even, if you ever get a chance to meet him, pick his brain, man. The kid's super smart about the business side of what we're doing. And he's in one of the hottest cities, so it's not hard to.
Yep.
It's not bad to know a good one of the better DJs.
He's playing everywhere down there, from SLS to 11 to all the hot spots. So, but yeah, he's on the show coming up to kind of close out March, and then Mark Anthony too, based out of like New York, plays in Vegas, Florida, all that.
Get it, guy.
Yeah. So yeah, couple great guys to end out the month of March.
Reach out to Huggle and see if he'll do another one.
I should. Yeah, he did one like right before he blew up, which was awesome. And that was literally just me reaching out on Instagram, and he was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll do one." I was like, "Okay," like expecting him not to answer at all. Yeah, and I was like, "Holy shit, yeah." So, but yeah, make sure you guys are subscribing. If you are a member of the Patreon and subscribe to that, that's where we put most of those edits from the show. So that way you guys can download them, update those track lists, and get ready for whatever gigs that you got coming up. Plus, we always share those top songs of the week. Yeah.
I'll do a top 5. I'll send you the top 5 that are not my edits, but what I will do is I'll put like a 4-pack edit together.
Yeah.
And just give it to you to have anybody download for free on whatever they want on the Patreon or whatever they're.
Yeah, that's what we do a lot. I'll put if people send me edit packs, I put them out out for free for the listeners.
And don't ever forget, like any of you guys, you're always more than welcome to reach out to me.
Yep.
I sit at home and make mashups while I'm high all the time. If you have a concept, you're like, hey man, I'm working on this. I'll help you with it. I have no problem, man.
The DMs are open.
Yeah, the DMs are open. I love helping anybody with that kind of stuff. Or even if it's somebody that you see me take a picture with on my Instagram, or you see them on, and it's like, hey, I'm going to be in this city. Do I have any connections?
Yeah.
I'm always trying to connect the DJ community because that's what's most important to me, because that's where my life comes from.
Love it.
So,
hell yeah.
Anything you guys need, just reach out to me. I'll help you if I can.
Awesome. Well, again, we got DJ Diesel on it. We appreciate you coming over, hopping on the show. This is we're out of here with the Platform Podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you.